Hey there, Tubanites. It's your friendly neighborhood flash in the pan. I wanted to touch base on my Bond Arms Derringer, the Roughneck. That's what I said. As we talked about before, and you can still see the blood on the dang thing, when shooting 357s, this thing is a handful. And that's, you know, it is what it is. It's a lot of gun in a small package, especially in 357. Of course, Bond Arms is coming out with bigger calibers now, which is great. I love it. Their whole Cyclops line, if you haven't heard about it, go look it up. It's long overdue, and I can't wait to get some barrels myself. But the thing I think that was killing me is not, you can see, you know, there's no, you can kind of wedge your pinky on there, but there's no true grip on there, so it really makes it easier for that gun, can I do this, to slip, you know, rotate out of your hand, and that's what was causing my thumb to get abused. So if you have one of these and you have shopped for grips at all, you know that even these small rubber ones are not inexpensive, and the very nice wood ones are over $100. If you pay roughly $270 for a gun, it's very hard to pay over $100 for grips alone. Me being the Dremel owning man that I am, I thought I can make my own grips. So that's what I set forth to do. All I did was, it's real simple, just flagged myself, don't tell anybody. Screw hole, take the grips off. Let's do it real quick just so you can see the inside. So unlike a lot of semi-auto grips, let's talk about like maybe a 1911, right? It's not a big deal. You just kind of make grips, put them on there if you're so inclined, obviously. Although 1911 might be a different bear just because they're so thin. But anyways, there's nothing real special to the back of these, right? But you can see that they are inlet a little bit, and that goes into this part of the inner workings of the frame, right? But obviously it can only go so far because you have your hammer spring and whatever that dingus is right there. So you can see these are inlet, I said that, inlet a little bit to kind of fit in there so they don't slide around, because there's only just the one screw that holds them on, so they need that to hold them onto this. So if you're dremeling your own, like any fool can trace these grips onto, you know, another piece of wood or paper and then another piece of wood or whatever. But the real hard part is when I did make my own out of wood, is all that stuff you have to Dremel out on the inside. Now, of course, I made this way more complicated than I had to. This is a lot thicker than I had to on the inside, but I really wanted to lock these grips in and not have them move anywhere, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pause here, get these new grips on, and let you take a look at how they turned out. Okay, so here's what I came up with. I just had some old wood laying around. I think it was cherry, still is cherry. But as you can see, all I did was just kind of add on a little pinky loop. See how my pinky fits on there now? So in theory, with that there, I should be able to handle that recoil a little bit better. We won't know until we go to the range next time. But man, let me tell you, this took a long time. This was a lot of real meticulous dremeling, and you can even see there's plenty of imperfections, right? So I really wanted this to kind of curve up. You see that? Curve up and meet the metal a lot more cleanly, but man, that wood got so thin around that curve that I really couldn't get it to line up well. And mind you, this is all hand tools outside of the Dremel, so even when I cut, you know, trace these out, then split that, because it's actually a pretty thick piece of cherry, so I actually traced it out and then just split that, cut it in half, you can see. So a lot of my lines aren't great, you know, but something I made, nothing special, but I think it turned out okay. For me, it's more functionality than appearance, although I think it appears okay. You know, maybe a 6.5, 7 out of 10, not too bad. But man, I love what Bond Arms is doing, especially with the Roughneck series, making their guns a lot more affordable. It was always hard for me to pay $400 to $500 for a 2-shot gun. It was always more of a fun gun for me, although I do find myself carrying it a lot because it's so small. But man, I really wish they would come down on price with those grips. But anyways, just wanted to share that with y'all, just to let you know that you don't have to spend the $100 on it. If you have some wood laying around and you're any kind of decent, you know, craftsman or tinkerer with wood, you can probably make your own grips and they'll turn out okay, at least functionally. Again, these aren't the prettiest, but not bad for sitting in the garage and sweating during the end of Texas summer. Appreciate y'all watching. Stay tuned for more.